Welcome to Gay Like Me Conversations, where we discuss all things central to the Black LGBTQ community. You're going to laugh, maybe even cry a bit, and you'll definitely learn and grow.
I am Craig the Writer Stewart.
And I am Derek J.
It's time to start the show.
Not Craig.
Yes, Derek.
Now, you know that in the LGBTQA community, like all of those letters, they're supposed to go together, but they really don't.
Right.
You know, and lesbians and gays don't really function.
There is a divide.
There's a real divide, and we don't function in the same situations, you know? So I want to have a conversation with the ladies.
I think it's time.
I think it's time.
Because even when you think about partying and clubbing and stuff, there's separate promoters. The ladies party separately from us. And there was a time, at least here in Atlanta, where we partied together. I remember there was a club here, and it was a perfect blend of gay men and gay women, and we got along. But I'm gonna say this, the lesbians like to fight.
Well, you know, Craig, I was, you know, in the 70s when you were going to the club.
Wait a minute now.
Well, no, I mean, it was a happier time then.
Oh, okay. Easy. Go ahead.
But, you know, so I want to take a dip in the lady pond. Now, this is a very quick dip.
So you ready to swim in the lady pond?
No, I'm not swimming.
You just want a skinny dip?
I just want to stick my toe in.
Well, I want to swim.
I don't want no swimming.
Good day, thinkers, thought leaders, progressives, and dreamers. I'm Craig the Writer Stewart.
And I'm Derek J. And this is Gay Like Me Conversations. And we're getting ready to talk to our sisters in the community.
Yes, and we have 3 generations of lesbians. One is 20, one is 32, and one is knocking at the door of 50.
Yes.
So I think we should have a really good perspective here, right?
All the way around.
Okay, so let's just start with our first guest. Let's start with Lindsay.
Lindsay. And you actually know Lindsay.
I actually know Lindsay.
And how do you know Lindsay? Did you used to date or something?
No, listen, I'm strictly dickly, and she's swimming in the lady pond.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you may have been trying to try something new.
No, listen, she's a koi fish.
Okay.
But no, she's actually really good friends. She's now my friend, but she started off as Carlton's friend and co-worker, my partner.
Gotcha.
My boyfriend, my love. But anyway, so I met Lindsay through Carlton. Welcome, Lindsay.
Hey, Lindsay.
Hey.
I see you got on that red lip.
Now, Lindsay,
I'm an actual lipstick lesbian today, right?
Oh my. and what are your pronouns?
She, her.
So are you single, Lindsay? I know this stuff, but just kind of share with everyone. Are you single?
Yes, I'm single.
But you're ready to mingle.
I'm ready to date seriously, date with intention.
Okay.
So
I like
I don't know
that.
if that's mingling, but sure.
I like that, date with intention. So when did you know that you were a lesbian? And did you go through a journey where you identified as a straight woman first and then you transitioned, so to speak?
I feel like I knew from an early age, but just because of the way I grew up, men were kind of forced upon me in this sense where it was like the norm and what I was supposed to do. And so later on in my life, I discovered that I was a woman. I mean,
You discovered you was a woman later on in life? Well, it took you a long time. I knew I was a woman at birth, so now you can stop figuring that too.
So he knew at birth, but you had to discover that you were a woman.
Oh my.
Okay, take it back. What you really wanted to say?
Later on in life, I discovered that I was a lesbian. And I felt that I could easily be with a man if I really wanted to, but deep down in my heart, I knew that I was gay.
Right.
And so it was, something I had to come to terms with. And at first I was really embarrassed by it and I felt uncomfortable. But as I grew up and grew into myself, I realized that I was a straight up lesbian.
And see, for me, it wasn't embarrassment knowing that I was gay. It was more shame.
Right.
And I remember the first time that a guy kissed me, I felt like this extreme sense of grief that came over me because it was almost like I could never be around friends and pretend that I hadn't had at least an experience with a guy.
And if you guys have not noticed, every conversation we have, Craig will always bring it back to him and his experiences.
How about you, Derek? So you knew you were born a woman?
Oh yeah, I was always gay, child. I was fine. But So we have Lindsay who knows and says that, that knows she's a lesbian, and that's how she identifies. But we do have Amber.
Okay.
Which we know Amber, she's a contributing partner to.
She is.
To Gay Like Me Conversations.
Right.
And that's Michelle. But we have
Amber is one of our resident correspondents.
Yeah, she's our resident correspondent. One of our resident correspondents at Gay Like Me Conversations. Now, Amber, how do you identify?
Queer/lesbian.
Now, what's the distinction?
For me, there's a difference between romantic attraction and sexual attraction. And romantically, I prefer to be with a woman, but I do have sexual desires for trans people or gay men or just everybody. But romantically, I prefer to be with a woman. So that's why I say queer/lesbian.
And what are your pronouns, your chosen pronouns?
She, her, and hers.
Okay.
When did you acknowledge your queer feelings?
In middle school.
Yeah, mind you, she's only 20.
I mean, well,
Yes.
So it ain't been that long.
I mean, I know, but it's very long for you to go back to your 20s.
I keep telling you, I don't look like what I've been through.
So you knew in middle school, but then when did you actually act on your feelings?
High school.
In high school?
Yes.
So you said that you're also trans attracted. So have you
Yes.
ever dated a trans person, or you've just had sexual encounters with trans people? And is it trans
I haven't had
men
any-
or trans women, or both?
I haven't had any sexual encounters, but I do like, because trans women are women and they're feminine presenting, and it's the feminine energy that I'm attracted to. So it's not really necessarily their outer appearance and everything, but yeah, just trans attracted. So I've never had any sexual encounters with them.
So then you probably could be attracted to Derek.
I'm not trans.
But you said, but she said feminine presenting and feminine energy, and you sitting here in the whole heel. Would you be attracted to somebody like Derek?
Amber,
You can say no.
Not necessarily, no.
That's a no.
Right.
Not necessarily.
Amber, don't let him feed you into this, Amber. Don't let him feed you into this. But I like Amber's perspective, because Amber has a younger thought process where, when we have someone like Michelle, our third guest that we have on, that comes from more of an old school background. Michelle is 49. Thanks for being here with us, Michelle.
Thank you for having me.
And then how do you identify?
As she.
Okay, cool. And then when did you know that you were a lesbian?
Ooh, I've been knowing probably since the early age of 5 that I was attracted to women. Had never been touched or anything like that. Just I knew early on that there was something about the female body that I was attracted to.
I think it's important to underscore what you just said, Michelle, because a lot of times I think people outside of the community think that people are conflicted with their sexuality because they've been touched, because they've been molested or raped. And that's not the case. That wasn't my
I was
story
born
either.
gay, I say. Wasn't my story either.
Right.
Never.
So when was your first sexual experience?
My first sexual experience, I was 18, and it was her first sexual experience as well. So we were both each other's first, and I think that was perfect for me. And that just sent me on my way. Now, I've never stopped being attracted to men.
Okay.
I'm just more attracted to females, and would like to be with a female more than a man, because I have kids, and I had them myself.
Okay, you carry them yourself,
I didn't want to do the artificial insemination or anything like that. No, I wanted to bear. God gave me all the female organs to bear kids.
And you wanted to do it
so I
yourself.
wanted to have them on my own. Yes, I did.
I think that's important too, that what you just said also about being attracted to men and women, but being more attracted to women. Because sexuality.
You have a lot of lesbians that hate men. Well, not hate them, but just
have a
dislike them. And
disdain,
some lesbians do. Yes, they do. But not me. I mean, to each their own.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But sexuality does happen on a continuum. So I
It
understand how you can be more attracted to women, but still have some attraction for men.
So now that we met all of our guests that we have on, let's get into this conversation.
Yeah.
Let's just, let's bring them all up and let's get into this conversation. I'm not diving in yet. You know how you sit by the pool and you kind of just sit and you put your feet in? I'm about to put my feet in the pool right now.
Well, I'm diving in. I got my scuba gear.
I'm about to test the waters a little bit. Now, I don't know nothing about the lesbian community. Like, I have no reason to be part of it. I have no reason to go in there. I don't have no reason.
Well, you look the part. You're just not in.
No, I don't want. I don't want to be a woman. Even though I am one. I can't help it. I don't want to be. But we want to kind of dive into the community itself.
Yeah.
And I know we find in the gay community, the black gays and the white gays are separate. It's a completely separate community. It's a completely separate situation. Is that the same for the lesbian community as well?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is separated. Me from being originally from Los Angeles, California, that West Hollywood area, that's pretty much the only area we have out there for gays and lesbians. And it's 90% for men. Just like in LA, lesbians don't have too many places to hang out, and we don't have too many places. Older lesbians in Atlanta, we don't have too many places to hang out. So it's separated just like whites and blacks are separated in the corporate world. It's the same way like that in each area in reference to gays and lesbians.
And but what about the white lesbian community and the black lesbian community? Is there a divide there as well?
Same across the board, no difference.
Yeah.
Lindsay,
Yeah, I would say so.
I feel it is.
what have been your experience, Lindsay, with dealing with? Do you try to go into the white community at all, or do you try to indulge in that space when it comes out to the lesbian community? Is that something that you try to do?
So I'll say this: I'm also from Los Angeles, and it's very divided in LA.
Yeah.
Like, there are only so many lesbian bars that lesbian women can go to, but they are kind of segregated. But I will say in Atlanta, it's kind of more integrated depending on where you go. Like, there are more options here, but it can be divisive depending on which route you take. You know what I mean? But I say that it depends on what you're looking for. If you have like an open mindset, then you're more willing to meet different types of women. Therefore, you go to more of those diverse places. But I know that there are a lot of lesbians that just stick to what they know and go to like the black bars or like the black parties, and they don't really meet different types of people. And their person could be in one of those places. You just don't know.
Amber?
Yes, I would say that there's a divide because I feel like we tend to think that because we fall under the LGBTQ community, which is a marginalized community, and all of us face oppression in different ways.
Yeah.
But we don't necessarily mesh well together because you still have white supremacy and white privilege and everything. And a lot of them, even though they are gay and they know what it feels like to be oppressed, they still lean into their privilege. So I just prefer to be around black, queer people because that's where I'm comfortable and that's where I feel like at home. So yeah.
And that's been my experience too with white gay men. I feel like oftentimes they will cling to their whiteness before they cling to their gayness. So here's the question that I have. Oh, what?
Well, see, you may not can't tell it right now, and I know I've probably been hiding for a long time, but I'm also a white woman, so, and, as a white woman, we welcome you.
Oh my God, that is too funny.
Now, let's talk about the gay and lesbian community.
Absolutely.
Because the thing is, I will say this, I commend women, just women in general, whether lesbian or straight, but women you guys are so nurturing, and you guys are always willing to come into our spaces, but we don't be willing to go into y'all space.
I don't really know where their spaces are.
Because you don't go.
Craig, you know where they are.
The lesbian spaces?
Yes, we've gone to some.
Well, but that was recent. Lindsay and I have only known each other now a little over a year. But like prior to Lindsay is my one lesbian friend. That
But the thing, so my question
she's my token.
Right, so she your token lesbian. But the thing is that lesbians, well, not just lesbians, women, they're always very welcoming to us.
They are.
But we're not so welcoming to women. So have you felt that resistance from gay men, trying to, accepting you or trying to be with you or even supporting you in your space?
I came up during the Catch One area.
Oh, come on, LA.
So that's a little different because we all party.
Yeah.
We had Saturday night was for the women and the guys came. Sunday night we had a drag show and baby, we was downstairs in the Catch eating fish sandwiches, enjoying that drag show. So I've seen it change. It's morphed over the years. Where in LA we house partied a lot. And so we had gay guy friends. So I can see it's changed. It's not like it used to be when it came to partying with everybody.
Right.
But it definitely has separated some.
Yeah.
And I just think just all the things that are going on in life in general has just put that divide right now.
Amber, do you feel any resistance towards with gay men to you at all?
No, I feel like the younger generation of the LGBTQ community, I feel like a lot of us are making the conscious decision to bridge like the gaps between different communities. And so, yeah, no, I don't necessarily feel immediate divide, but I don't have any gay male friends. I would like some, but I don't have any.
Yeah, you know, and I got to agree with you, Amber. Yes, me being part of the younger generation, I do.
He's delusional.
Why are you laughing?
You really want to be young. Go ahead.
Lindsay, how about you? I mean, other than Craig, I mean, you know.
I mean, I've always had gay guy friends, but I do hear this narrative a lot that, you know, gay guys don't like lesbian women. But then I hear stories about gay men trying to sleep with more masculine presenting women. So I think it's just a case by case. It depends on where you were raised and where your beliefs are and all of those things.
Geography definitely plays a part. Here's what I would say. In my experience, I remember hearing a lesbian say years ago that she didn't like partying with us because some of you use the word bitch too much and she doesn't want to be called a bitch. That was one thing.
That's our word too.
Yeah.
We use that too.
Right, but she said she didn't want to be called that, and she said, and we use the word too loosely, too freely, and that was for her. But then I've heard gay men say, well, and I kind of teased about it at the beginning, but a lot of gay men have said, well, you know, the lesbians like to fight. You know, sometimes they're outwardly aggressive, especially when the guys party at the club when they may not be as feminine and they're dancing with one of the lesbians or something. Sometimes the studs get a little territorial and they be wanting to fight and shit, you know, and they feel like they have to assert their masculinity and, you know, put their foot down and be like, look here. So what do you say to those two things?
I've never heard that before.
Really?
Me either.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, no.
Seem like the boys fight more than the girls.
Yeah.
The boys do fight, Chad.
Yes, they do.
I don't agree. Now, that thing, I wasn't going to agree with that one with Craig, but you know, I was going to let him get his point across. But Chad, you know,
I don't think it's about equal, to be honest.
Yeah.
But you know, I like being aggressive old lesbian, Chad. You know,
I know you want to be tossed.
You know, I like to understood. But speaking of that, speaking of the types of lesbians there are, I want to ask, like, what category do you guys fall in that type? Because I mean, there shouldn't even be a question. But you know, we all like people. We all like put everybody in a box. We all want to know what are you like? How do you see yourself in the community? And then what are you attracted to? Yeah. As far like what attracts you to another woman? So we'll start with you, Lindsay. So what kind of lesbian are you? I know it sounds weird.
I can say this for her, but I'm gonna let you say it.
Wait, let me answer.
It's not about you again.
I know. Go ahead, Lindsay.
Go ahead, Lindsay.
I identify as a femme, but I also am kind of like tomboyish. So some people may call me a STEM, but I really say that I'm a femme. Okay. And I'm attracted to more masculine presenting women. But the funny thing about that is that the women that I've dated in the past have been more masculine on the outside, but have been softer within.
Soft.
So it's kind of like a juxtaposition. It's very interesting how that happens. But I'm attracted to aggressiveness and leadership. And so most of the time, masculine presenting women have that. But then there are people like me, because I feel like I'm that way too. I'm assertive in that way. So it's different and it varies. It's case by case, but I identify as a femme.
Okay. Amber?
I identify as a femme as well, but I feel like I have a more like of a kind of like aggressive femme energy. So it's not really like submissive. It's more of a dominant femme type energy. And I'm attracted to feminine women.
Okay. And then Michelle?
I identify as aggressive, stud, if you want to call it. And I'm attracted to very, very feminine women. Always have been. And because I am aggressive on the outside, and I dress the man's part on the outside, because I am a mother, just like Lindsay was saying, and most studs, you do find that. They have this outer, hard appearance.
But the soft and
But
pink.
when you get home, we both women. But I'm still going to be the leader. I'm still going to take control. But when we get home, we more of a 50-50.
Yeah.
You know, I might put on a gown. You might put on a gown. We at home.
Right.
You know what I mean? There ain't no judgment. You know what I mean? But yeah, just like Lindsay, where I'm identified as stud, but I'm attracted to very feminine women only.
You know what's interesting about this, and I think it's because I'm looking into their community. This same kind of conversation, if it was 3 black gay men talking about I like more masculine type men, my thought process, and probably yours too, would be, well, that's probably internalized homophobia. That's kind of like a prejudice. You know what I'm saying?
But I don't think that I don't think that women come from that space.
Exactly.
When men really actually do.
It's almost like my ear is more open to hearing what they're saying. Yeah.
That's your prejudice.
I believe it is.
But I'm glad that you mentioned. I'm glad you mentioned kids, because that's the next topic I want to bring up with you guys. Is about having children, and I think that and from the black community, when you think about being a lesbian, you just be like, oh, they don't never want to have children anyway. They're not gonna, they just think that that's all that's just thrown out the window. Michelle, I know you have kids, but Lindsay, is children something in your future? Is that something you want to have? And if so, what would that process? What would that process be for you? And are you gonna try to take the traditional way, or what does that look like in your future for you?
I often think of that because I'm reaching, the age where my eggs are going to start depleting. And so it's something I'm constantly thinking about. And I feel like there's no right or wrong way to do it. It's just really what works for you. And so I would like to carry my partner's egg, and then we pick a sperm donor together and then decide if that person is going to be active in the kid's life and move from there.
So you're not laying with no man?
No.
So my question is, why do you want to use your partner's egg and not your egg and have her? Well, you want to carry it. That's why.
Yeah.
Okay,
so I would do my egg after. So I want to carry my partner's egg first. Okay. And it be, I'm creating this home for the baby. Yeah. So it would. I would feel like I'd be more a part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Versus then just having my egg alone.
Right. Okay.
It'd be ours. It'd be more ours.
Yes.
Now, Amber, we know you're young. So I mean, is babies on your mind at this point? Have you thought about that, or is that something that you don't want?
Right. Well, my answer is always kind of up in the air, because I feel like children, it takes a lot goes into having children, and I just always say that if I never reach the point in life to where I feel like I'm able to mentally, financially, and emotionally care for a child, that I won't have one. So, yeah, that's pretty much my answer. But if I do reach that point, then yes, I would definitely like to have children. And like Lindsay, I would prefer to go the IVF route, where you go to the sperm bank and then use your partner's egg and carry the baby and everything. So yeah.
Well, so I was going to ask Michelle. I know you have kids.
Oh wait, before we go to Michelle.
Okay.
Yeah, before we go to her, because Michelle gonna talk to us. Because she got the kids. But do you want to have kids, Chris?
I do, and we talk about having kids. We would use the same surrogate. I would, we would use my sperm to impregnate her, and we would also use his sperm as well, so that the kids could be fraternal. I want the same surrogate for both kids.
Gotcha.
But we don't want more than 2, so we would just be both one and done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want no kids.
I know you do.
I don't want no kids. I would raise other people's children.
Right.
I would be a great auntie. I would be a great godmother. But children is not in my space.
So they're not gonna call you Uncle Derek?
Huh? No. Not at all. But Michelle, now you do have children. Now, how many kids do you have?
Yes. I have 3. The oldest is 33. The middle one is 24. And my baby will be 16 in September.
Wow.
Okay.
So were the father or fathers people that you were in relationships with, or was it just for the purpose of having the kids?
All right, here we go. So I was 16 when I had my first son. So I was dating, I was fast. Started young, right? Had my first son at 16. Then when I started, falling into the lifestyle, I still wanted kids. But you heard a lot of lesbians that didn't want to have sex with men to get the kids. But I always wanted to be a mother.
Yeah.
So when it came on my second child, I was in a relationship, ending it. And for some reason, I didn't want to do it with my partner. I wanted to do it on my own. Because I felt that things don't last forever, right? This is my child, and I don't want you in and out. So this guy moved me. Real nice, tall guy, nice looking, had a nice background. That was my second son's father. As I got older, when I turned 30, my 30s, I said, okay, girl, you're getting old. And I had baby fever so bad, you guys can understand. And I said, okay, you got to have your last child. So at 35, now there's a couple of things too. Let me break this up. I stopped being a lesbian twice in life because I wanted to make sure this is what I wanted to do.
Wait a minute, pause right there.
Yeah, let's stop.
So you mean to tell me I can stop being gay?
I stopped. Because like I told you in the beginning, it's not like I dislike men. I just prefer women more, especially back then. I've decided that women is going to be for the rest of my life. But we're talking about going through your 20s and 30s. You'll change, your mind changes, and you go through so many different things that you have to experience life.
Well, wait, hold on one second. Michelle. So, Lindsay, have you stopped being a lesbian?
Have you ever stopped being a lesbian?
Okay, then.
No.
Okay, I'm just asking. Okay, go ahead.
But
Michelle.
I mean, it made sense for her.
Right.
So, you know.
Yeah.
So how long did you
and
stop
for me,
being
it
a
did.
lesbian? Was it a year or a couple years?
Just about right after I had Thomas, I broke up with him and I went back in the lifestyle, and that's when I decided that I wanted to live the rest of my life as a lesbian.
Thomas was the third kid.
Yes, my last baby.
Okay.
Yes.
And so did
Wait,
you
so when you stop being go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead. Ask it. Go ahead.
Ask the question, Lindsay.
When you stopped being a lesbian, what
Yeah.
did that mean? Did you stop looking at women, or are you just focusing?
That
no,
was my
I
question.
stopped having sex with women.
But you still had the
You
cravings?
never lose the attraction, baby.
Right. So you were always a
Right.
lesbian. You were just feeling yourself out.
Right.
So in other words,
And
you were
all the men
celibate.
that I've ever dated.
So in other words, is it safe to say you were celibate from women?
Yeah.
Yes. we
Kind
can
of like
say
Donnie
that.
McClurkin.
Yes. And all the men that I've dated knew that I was a lesbian. So this wasn't, I never had an issue about who I was at any time.
Right.
Coming out, going back, it didn't matter. Right? Because when I was a woman, I was a femme. Hair, baby, legs, nails, all of that. But when I'm a boy, I'm straight boy.
So
Right?
do you consider
And-
yourself bisexual?
No,
Yeah, I was just
I
about to
stopped
ask
having
that.
sex with men after I had my well, everybody asked me that, but I stopped having sex with men after I had my last child. It's
And
been
this
16
one-
years since I've had sex with a man.
And
But if
this
you
one-
met a man that you were attracted to, you'd be open to seeing where things go.
No.
But see,
Well,
this
that's
is why
not anymore.
Derek doesn't believe in bisexuality.
Yeah, I mean, bisexual, and that's a whole other conversation.
my
But the reason I say this is that, and you, because you
Take your time.
I know, that's right. You see,
Michelle, you're taking us too fast.
You see, you got me all
Different
worked
case,
up. I was
baby.
ready. What's the thing? Because I've always said that your sexual experiences does not define your sexuality
Or your sexual identity.
Your sexual
Yeah.
identity. So the thing is that
It
I
doesn't.
know I'm a gay man. You know you were a lesbian. You just a lesbian having sex with a man.
Yes.
That doesn't mean you were
That's it.
bisexual. I was a lesbian
No.
having sex with a man. So the thing is
Yeah.
that once you know what the situation is, then that's just, it is what it is.
Right.
But
Yeah.
And you explained it so eloquently one time before you and I
I
were
always
talking.
do. Well, go ahead. Come on, Craig. We on a time schedule.
I mean, you don't need nobody to suck your dick. You do a great job of sucking your own. But you had said something so eloquently before, and that was you're a gay man, you identify as a gay man. Just because you have sex with a woman, that doesn't make you straight.
Well, I
You're
just-
just a gay man that had sex with a woman.
That's what I just said. I just said
Oh,
it
I
like,
kind of tuned you out.
but that's the problem. If we're going to be doing this together, you have to listen to me like I listen to you. Like I literally just said that. But now that you, But now, with the kids, I want to talk about the process of raising your kids. So you had these 3 boys, and you have them by 3 different men. So now, are the men in their lives? Do they help raise the kids? Like how did that work?
The first 2, no. I was young when I had the first one. The first 2, no. The last one, yes, but he's not present.
Now, how did you tell your boys that you were gay, and how old were they?
I've always kept all I've always been honest with my boys.
Okay.
Since day one. I don't believe in cutting no corners. I live in my truth. That's all I know how to do. So with me living in my truth, my kids witness that day to day. And I stay down and talk with them when they were like 8 or 9. Say, hey, look, you know your mama like women. You'll see these ladies come over here. I don't believe in cutting to the chase. That don't help nobody with nothing, especially my kids. Because I want them to be able to handle every aspect of living this life. Right? So I've never hid that. The only person it took to come to grips with me being gay is my mama. It took her about 25 years.
Wow.
For her to accept me dressing and smelling and looking like a man.
Well, I guess so. Michelle, you stopping and starting again. I'd be confused
I'm the only
too.
one that got kids. I'm the only one that got kids out of my brothers and sisters. So she glad.
Well, that's why she had some hope too, because you were the only one that had kids.
So, but now because Lindsay and Amber, you don't have children. I want to kind of flip this question a little bit for you guys. How was it being raised, by your parents, and having to have that conversation with them about being a lesbian, about being queer? How did that go? And do you think that the way that your parents raised you had a effect on the outcome of your sexuality today? So I'll start with you, Lindsay.
I was raised in like a heterosexual household. My parents were very loving to each other. And my dad was really the one that instilled in me to just be myself and do what I want to do. And so when what really happened was one day I was on the phone with my mom and I was like, how would you feel if I dated a woman? And she was like, what do you mean, you're gay? And I was like, no. And then a couple of weeks later, I came home for Thanksgiving and I brought a woman home. And she had to come to grips with it. And it just is what it is. This is Lindsay. So I feel like I had it extremely easy because my parents just accept me for who I am. So I don't have a similar story to a lot of people. So I'm, grateful for my experience.
Now, are you able to have conversations with your parents about your partners or anything? Have open conversations?
Yeah.
That's good.
And my mom's like, you know how you get these girls.
Right. And see, I always think that the LGBTQ people who thrive the most in the community are the ones who come from families that are supportive.
Yeah.
Now, Amber, what about you?
Before I could even come to my mom or my parents about liking women, my mom came to me because she saw like the dynamic between my best friend that I had in middle school. And I guess at the time I didn't really have the vocabulary to publicize or like vocalize how I felt about her. I just know that I had deep feelings for her and I liked her more than a friend. And I guess that it wasn't something that I was hiding because I didn't really know that it was something wrong. So it wasn't until my mom came to me and she began like pestering me and asking me about it. And she was just always, oh, do you like her? Why do you talk to her in this way? And why are y'all always together? And things like that. And it wasn't like an outright homophobic approach, but it wasn't really a positive one either. So yeah, it made me like kind of be like a reclusive to the to coming out and being myself. And it made me second guess liking women because she always kind of like made it a thing. So it just made me feel like something was wrong with me and that I was like outside of the norm.
I feel like the more comfortable you become with your sexuality, she'll have no choice but to accept you for who you are. So it's just something, it's just a relationship you're going to have to constantly work on. You know what I mean? And that's just like any other relationship you have in life.
Because I think part of what we forget as people in the community is that our parents have these dreams and desires for our lives. And those dreams to a degree die. Not to say that you still can't have children, you still can't have a loving relationship, you still can get married and all those things, but they have a picture in their mind of what your life is gonna, look like. And so I just always say to people, spoon feed your parents that information because like I didn't really push it on my mom. Like we would have conversations, but I wouldn't throw it in her face. I didn't shrink, but I didn't force it on her either. I gave her the time to kind of embrace it, just like it took me time to embrace myself.
Now, Michelle, now I want to. So let's talk about some myths of a person of LGBTQ of the LGBTQ community raising a child. So are any of your children part of the community?
Yes, my oldest son is. He's homosexual.
Okay.
Now, do you think that has anything to do with you being a lesbian?
Because everybody saw it before I did. Everybody saw it. Now here it is. I'm lesbian like women, right? And everybody's like, your son is another. And I'd be like, girl, no, he ain't. Now, here I am, dating women, but didn't want to believe that my son was gonna be a homosexual.
Right.
Right? Because like the gentleman said, we have dreams of our kids having kids and living what they said this white picket fence life, right? But it doesn't turn out that way. And so he's the only one that's homosexual. My middle son knows he likes girl, and Thomas, he has a girlfriend now. But that can change, who knows?
Right.
And
Now,
I love him. It doesn't matter.
But I think that's why some people get stuck in the closet too, because they know their parents have these expectations for their lives.
Well, with your oldest son, how was that the coming out for you with him coming out to you?
I had to ask him.
Oh, really?
And this wasn't that long ago. And I said, son, are you gay? He never came out and told me, right?
Well, when you said that, because how old is he now?
He's 33.
So then when did he tell you he was gay? Well, when you asked him?
About 4, I think, right before I moved to Georgia. It wasn't that long ago.
So he was in his
It was less
late
than 5 years ago.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, and I had to ask him. He's like, I was like, well, son, why would you say your mama full-blown lesbian? Is there a reason why you just didn't feel comfortable? Oh, mama, so even with him having a lesbian mother,
It didn't make it any
still was an issue
easier
for him.
Yeah.
No, it didn't.
And I think that speaks to it not always being about the black family. Sometimes that fear is connected to the black community and the black church. So it's three-pronged. It's the black church, the black family, and the black community. So he had you with open arms, but he obviously was concerned about something else.
Now, I know, so Lindsay, I know you spoke about having children with your partner, and the same for you, Amber. But for you, Michelle, does your kids have an issue with the absence of the father?
No, because I was both.
Gotcha.
I've always both. I've been a single mother since the age of 16, so you can imagine what I've been through. And me growing up in the city of Los Angeles, having kids that old, baby, is nothing that I can't do, So they see me overcome all kind of adversity. They seen me buy bucket cars. They seen me fix a leak. You know what I mean? So I wanted to make sure that my boys had everything they needed to succeed, and I raised them that way. So all of them work. They have their own place. They pay their own bills. They have their own car. They independent. They do their own thing. Good credit. They do what they supposed to do as young men in today's society. My oldest son is a Morehouse graduate.
Awesome.
He has his master's. My other son just graduated from Arizona State, has his PD degree. We don't play around here. They have things to do. And I'm so grateful because I don't know what it is to raise bad kids.
That's a blessing.
I don't know. They did everything they were supposed to do, and I stayed in their butt. See, with me being molested and everything I went through, everything that I went through, I didn't want them to go through it, so I taught them how to do and be better. I did. So yeah, they're excellent men.
So now, Lindsay, you're single, right? Now, are you single because you want to be single? I mean, are you single by choice or are you single by happenstance? Is that
I'm single by choice. I could easily just be in a relationship with anyone. You know what I mean? Just like anyone else could. But I'm very particular about who I want to be with and the type of woman I want in my life.
And now, is there a right timing involved with that? As far as for you, like, is there do you have a goal in mind, like say, hey, I want to be here by here, or I'm working on something? Is there timing involved with that for?
I probably used to have a time stamp involved, but I'm kind of just going with the flow now because I've really discovered that life is really about timing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Just being at the right place at the right time. It's not on your time, it's more on God's time. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the trajectory that I'm on right now. Mm-hmm. I'm just going with the flow.
Yeah, everything happens when and as it should.
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly.
Yeah, Amber, are you single?
Yes.
Yes. Now, and is that single by choice, or is it like what is and what? When do you want to be with somebody, and when does that happen for you?
Like Lindsay, I am single by choice. Because especially since I'm really young, I don't feel like there's a lot of women my age or that have the same mindset as I do. Mm-hmm. And I take relationships and friendships very seriously. And I feel like at this day and age, the younger generation, they're like kind of skewing away from wanting meaningful relationships. Mm-hmm. So I'm single by choice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Michelle, are you single?
Gonna stay this way.
Oh, so you're not even interested in being with anyone?
How do you get 3 single lesbians on here?
Baby, no, after I done been through the last couple of years, my decision making ain't too hot.
So you need some time to recalibrate.
Work on me. Yeah, baby. Yeah, when y'all have a topic on that, that's a whole nother
So my question to you is that do you see yourself in another relationship, or are you content? Like, I live my life. I've had a good time. Are you content with being single?
I am. Yes, I am. For the first time in my life. Well, I've never had a problem being by myself because I always had good friends.
Right.
So when you have good friends, relationship, you don't really trip when you got your girl.
That's just the icing on the cake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just the icing on the cake. We all want that companion at night to Netflix and chill, right? Mm-hmm. Right. But sometimes these relationships come with a lot of bags. Mm-hmm. And until you got rid of some of them bags, I'm not here to train, talk, teach. I'm finna hit 50. My child is almost grown. When God is ready, I'm like Lindsay. When he's ready, he'll send them. Until then, I'm not looking because it's better when it just happens,
Right.
Sounds like dating on the women's side is just as tumultuous as it is.
Just as rocky as it is on the gay side.
It is.
Now we always in our conversations we believe that everybody always has something to share and always able to teach someone else. Mm-hmm. So I want to ask you guys, Amber, for you, what advice would you give that young girl that's trying to figure her space out, that's trying to figure out her? Like, what kind of advice would you give her?
Always be honest with yourself and be truthful with yourself, because sometimes it's hard to be honest with other people about your desires and what it is that you like. I feel like as long as you are honest with yourself, it'll cut down a lot of the internalized trauma and kind of internalized hatred for yourself. It'll cut a lot of that down because you'll have peace in your mind, even if you don't have it outwardly in public or within your family and everything. And to don't isolate yourself. If you're going through something, try to find like-minded people and healthy people to be in community with, and just take care of yourself. Mm-hmm. And every way, just take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm. Lindsay, same question for you.
I would say that it's important to be firm in your boundaries. Mm-hmm. And if something doesn't feel right, to listen to that and stop and check in and see why it doesn't feel right, and then readjust. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then Michelle, what would you give? Like, you've been through it. You've been through it all, and you are the most seasoned one of the bunch. What advice would you give just to ladies in general that may be trying to just figure this space out?
Figure yourself out first. Mm-hmm. Take care of yourself. Self-care mentally. Yeah. Mental self-care is number one.
Yeah.
Because I've dated women since I was 19, and women hold a lot of bags. Mm-hmm. And all those bags do is just come over in every relationship until you stop and deal with them. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 2, don't want a person that you're not. You want somebody that drive good, got a nice car, can do this and do that, but you still down here and not knowing what you want to do with yourself. Get yourself ready to meet your mate. You got to bring something to the table. You know what I mean? Two broke people can't do nothing.
Right.
So we got to be equal playing field. And determine what you want to do with yourself. So we got mental preservation, right? Physical preservation, and just living your truth at all times, no matter how bad it hurts.
That was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. You know what? Thank you. Thank you, ladies, for taking time out of your day to have a conversation with us. Craig?
Yeah, that was amazing. For you, Michelle, I think that your words are going to really reach someone, especially someone who is having that feeling of, I am a lesbian, identify as a lesbian, but I do want to have children, and I want to have children in a natural way. But to your point, I think it's important to take time and figure yourself out. I think a lot of the damage that we experience as LGBTQ plus people is that in that closet, that time that we spend in the closet, and that's different for everybody. I came out at 22. Some people have come out at 13. I think the longer you stay in that closet, I think the more damage, to Amber's point, you do to yourself, because you start to become really self-destructive. You start to doubt yourself. You start to insulate yourself in more fear. And the longer you stay in that fear, the longer and harder it is to come out and just standing your truth, to your point, Michelle.
Yes.
Yeah, so thank you.
Amber, Lindsay, Michelle, I want to say you guys thank you so much, and thank you for having a conversation with us today.
Yes, thank you for that.
Thank you. I enjoyed it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. So, Craig,
Listen,
you know,
I learned a few things.
And the one thing I will say that we did learn is that, like you said, it's not too far off. We think that being a lesbian or being gay is two different worlds. When it's actually, we're all people in the end of the day.
Exactly.
And we all go through the same situations. We have the same issues, the same doubts, the same fears. Just comes in a different package.
One thing that I would say that was interesting, that stood out, I found it interesting that Michelle used the word lifestyle. And I know a lot of us in this community use the word lifestyle. I've never really gravitated to that word, simply because lifestyle speaks to a choice. Where you grocery shop is a choice. You may golf 3 times a week, or you may travel two or three times a year. That's a lifestyle. I think sexuality is instinctive. It's how we're wired. It's not a choice, and it's not a decision.
You've been practicing that one.
No. That's just something that I know. I know that in the spirit, in my spirit, in the fibers of my being. But listen, thank you guys for tuning in to another Gay Like Me Conversations. I am Craig the Writer Stewart.
And I am Derek J. And we will see you next time on another episode of Gay Like Me Conversations.
Bye.
I think I'm gonna find me a lesbian girlfriend.
Well,
I gotta hang out with Lindsay.
I'll connect you with Lindsay.
Okay, she can take me. We can find me a stud.
And you put on something real frilly like that. Keep your lashes on. And
so I think I'm with it.
You'll be ready by the time your birthday roll around.
That'd be my birthday present.
They give good gifts.
They do. But they gotta. We'll talk about that later.